What you doing out in these streets, Leroux? What you doing out in these streets? What you doing out? What you doing out? What you doing out in these streets? What you doing out in these streets, Leroux? We in these streets. Alright, so I decided to open up a Q&A segment of this podcast channel where you can ask me any question you like, any question you like. Because throughout my career and my journey, I've been receiving tons of questions, and I decided, why not make a Q&A segment part of this, or an addition to this podcast channel. And recently, I posted on Instagram and Facebook, where you can follow me, The Real Leroux, on Instagram and Facebook, Leroux. And also, I have this podcast channel on Facebook and Instagram, In These Streets with Leroux. Shameless plug, I know, but you can follow me there, check me out, and you too can ask me some questions. But I posted on one of my stories asking for any questions, if you have any questions. And one question that really stood out for me was from, let me just check, make sure. It was from, I don't know if I can mention your name if you're gonna watch this, dude. But Earl952, that's his Instagram handle. And he had a question, what are some bad or destructive habits you've had, and how did you beat them? Now, that's a really good question. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. Thank you for also supporting the podcast. But I've had tons of bad habits or destructive habits in the past, and the one I would like to focus on, because I can't talk about all of them, because this video is going to be like long. That's what she said, but long. But one thing I want to focus on is alcohol. Like, first of all, I've got nothing against alcohol. I don't see it as a problem. If you drink, that's cool. It doesn't bother me. I have a lot of friends who drink. Actually, most of my friends drink. And, whenever I'm around them, it doesn't bother me. If that works for you, that works for you. I still can't call myself a non-drinker per se. Because when I travel, I drink because I'm on vacation. Most of the time I'm on vacation if I travel. And I want to experience the culture, the proper way, the way it should be. If it's alcohol there, I want to taste what does the alcohol taste like. So, and I've got no responsibilities when I'm on vacation. When I travel, it's all about just having fun and letting my hair down, per se. But, I don't have a problem with this. Like I said, I can't call myself a non-drinker per se because, just the way I used it back then was in a very negative way. Like, let me take it way back. The way I grew up, I always thought, wait, let me just put this on silent or flight mode, because I don't want to get disturbed right now. Okay. So when I grew up, in my culture, I always thought that when you drink, you are cool. Like, I couldn't wait to start drinking, So, like, that's the way we had fun. Like, I was always under the pretense that if you're not drinking, you're not having a good time, So, we would, like, I never drank all the time, but when I drank excessively. So I never drank during the week, but I drank, unless it was a special occasion, then yes, I would drink during like on a weekday or on a school night. But Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, those were my drinking days. I'd go hard. Like, no matter what I'm doing, like, there must be alcohol involved. Like, that's like the plan, to get fucked up. I always felt like drinking kind of held me back when I started getting more focus, because of the hangover effect, like the next day you feel slow, sluggish, you don't feel 100%. Mind you, I never, the times I never drank was weekdays and whenever I had to do music. So whenever I had to go on stage, I never drank. I was always sober. I always felt like alcohol would inhibit my performance on stage. And always when I would write or make beats or, produce or record, I'd always be sober. I'd never be under the influence. I never felt that alcohol complemented my creativity, So I never had a problem with getting creative without alcohol being sober. So that wasn't an issue. It was just when I would party, then I would take it to the next level. And I didn't quite know when to stop or when enough was enough. So we'd drink and party until the wee hours of the morning. We'd look for other parties and, buying bottles in clubs and, all of that shit. I did it all. Like, people see me now, they always thought that I was born this way, but that's not the case, I was overweight. I didn't look this way. I wasn't this focused. I wasn't this disciplined. I was a completely different person back then, So people always tell me, like, no, you don't know what it's like, but I do. Like, I lived that life, I was overweight. I used to drink excessively, I did this, I did that, I did this. So, I've had the pleasure, so to say, of living both lives. So I know the difference between the two, and I know which worked better for me and which, and the way I feel now is much better than the way I felt before. But the reason the way I overcame it was, and why I decided to stop this destructive habit, because that's the way I felt about it at the time. I spoke about this on social media before in some interviews on radio, but I had a bout of depression where I was depressed, and during this time, when I decided that I wanted to overcome this and feel better and basically get my shit together, so to say, I realized that alcohol was one of the things that had to go. Like, I wanted to, I felt that alcohol was an escape, I would drink it to escape, because in that bout of depression, I had to figure out why I was drinking, Is it just because I wanted a good time? Is it because I was escaping? Is it because I was dependent on alcohol for some reason? Is it because of my social circle? All of those things. And when I wanted to lose weight, because I felt like fitness would help me because I was overweight and I wanted to lose weight, and I thought, losing weight would help my mind feel better. Because for me, when I wanted to stop drinking, I needed to strengthen my mind. I needed to understand what was wrong with me. What issues did I have that I was not dealing with, that I wanted to escape from? Why I needed to party so hard all the fucking time, So I had to deal with that, the mental aspect of it first. And once I started healing and started realizing that these are the reasons why I'm turning to alcohol, this is what I did. Like, I wanted to live a better life for me personally, and heal and stop drinking. Not really stop, but slow down, to just slow down. I would go to the gym, because I figured 3 times a week was enough. So I would go to the gym Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. But I would go after heavy nights of partying, or before I go party, then I would hit the gym, because I thought 3 days is enough. Even if I do it when I'm hungover or still partially drunk, I'd be fine. And that's my workout. I'm living healthier. But it didn't work like that for me, When I started realizing that, asking questions, why am I still drinking? Am I drinking because my friends are drinking? Am I drinking because this is the way I was how do you say, this is the way that I saw what I saw growing up um, amongst friends, you know, to be accepted, to be cool. Because I always thought drinking made me feel cool, or having a drink in my hand would make me part of the cool kids kind of thing, you know. So I would ask myself these questions, and when I started to wean myself off alcohol, I would start off by going for light beers. Like I remember I had a Castle Lights, so I would drink that. So I'd still be going to parties, and you know, I'd get teased because it's a light beer, you know, but it's okay because I'm still drinking, you know, so my friends still didn't mind that. And then I started to, okay, fine, I wanted to lose weight as well, and beers, carbs. I decided, okay, I'm gonna go to whiskey. So I had whiskey, water, and ice. That was my go-to. Johnny Walker, that was my shit. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna go from drinking Johnny Walker, water and ice, I would be Johnny Walker on the rocks. And that was to be my shit, you know? Because for me, it was like, it tasted better than Castle Light, for sure. And yeah, it just looks better in your hand also. Because like, yeah, it just did, and it tastes liquor. And it would get me on a buzz quicker also. I mean, one drink compared to a few beers, I mean, it's a win-win. So I do that, and then I was like, you know what, why am I still drinking? Am I drinking because, you know, my friends are drinking, or am I drinking because I just want to look cool, I want to be accepted, because my friends are doing it kind of thing. And then the more knowledge I gained of self, the more I started to understand who I was, and my goals that I wanted to reach, and, you know, accepting myself for who I am, and letting go of the old life to go to the new life, to the new me, the me that I was always wanted to become. I started to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm just not gonna drink. I don't need to drink. I don't feel like drinking. So why am I going to a party saying that I want to drink just because they expect me to drink, you know? So I decided, fuck it. And now a few things that goes through your mind is like when you go to a club, like, what do you do with your hands if you don't have a drink in your hand? Like, seriously, like, what do you do with your hands? Like, you just stand around, your hands in your pocket, like, you know, your friends are buying rounds, and you're like, nah, you know, and then the peer pressure of your friends, no, you can't not drink, you know, just have one, man, just have one, man. You know, so all of those things you deal with, it's part of the process of losing these habits, you know, but at the end of the day, the friends that you lose through that process, you'll know they were just drinking friends. The friends that still hang around with you after that process, you'll know they are still your friends, you know. So for me, it was standing up for me and saying, I don't want to drink, I don't need this. Respect me and my decision, being assertive about that, and realizing, because look, I was so programmed since I was young to believe that I needed a drink to have fun. You know, going to a club, you need that buzz, talking to girls, you know that guy from Big Bang Theory, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but was it Big Bang Theory? Yeah, Big Bang Theory, yeah, he always had this problem. He needed alcohol to speak to Penny or to speak to girls. And that in a way was me, like I was sort of needed some liquid courage to speak to them. And I always thought, you know, this was my go-to thing. I didn't know if I was going to be funny or entertaining still, or, you know, to still be me, or to still be accepted, so to say, because of my personality. And I thought alcohol brought that out. But the moment I started feeling better because of working out and feeling in shape, and just gaining knowledge of self, and being more determined about my goals, and just becoming me more, than I've ever been. You know, I felt better. You know, I honestly didn't need that. Like, I didn't need alcohol to go dancing, you know, in a club. I didn't need that courage. You know, I would, it would just come from within. That confidence came from within. Speaking to women, that just came from within. I didn't need that extra edge, you know, to say, oh, okay, I'm ready now. I can go. I can talk to anybody. I'm even more confident now than I've ever been. I can go to anybody and speak to anyone. Doesn't matter who or the situation. I can walk into any room now. Before, I would need that bit of courage, you know. And yeah, it's quite liberating knowing that something that you needed or that you thought you needed, you don't actually need. You know, it's an option. It's there if you want to use it. But it was liberating to know that I don't need these things to feel good, to have a good time, to have the best time, to be functional in social circles, you know. And I still get it today. I still get today. It's some place where I go with some of the same friends that they still, like, when they get really drunk, then they try to persuade me to drink. I try, you know, but it honestly doesn't bother me. Like, if you really like hold duck and you know, and it becomes annoying, then I'm just gonna leave, you know, because I don't need that, you know. Like, I'm not going to places and saying, preaching, yo man, you don't have to drink, bro, you know. I'm not going to places preaching like, you gotta eat healthy, bro, you know, you gotta look after yourself, bro. I'm not fucking, I never do that, never. So you don't have any right to do that to me, you know. Install your beliefs on me. You know, we can have a conversation about it in a civil manner, but don't try and force me, and don't try to hold duck. If no means no. The fuck out of my face if you try to push me, you know? So that's basically how I overcame it. It's a very complex situation because the mind, like, you can't just, like, for me, I felt like I couldn't just leave it. You know, I couldn't just let it just go cold turkey. You know, it's a mental thing. You gotta address the mind, like, why I needed it, you know. And there's a lot of things. It's all about culture. It's all about your circles, you know. It's all about and yeah, like, there's a lot of times, you know, you won't get invited to shit because people are not gonna understand, you know, that. Because if your friends are also programmed in that way to believe that you need alcohol to have a good time, you know, like, what's a party without drinking? You know, they're gonna see it that if you're not gonna drink, you're not gonna have a good time, so why invite you, you know? So it's all about education of who you are, knowledge of self, self-awareness, you know, it all comes into that aspect. Once again, I'm not saying alcohol is bad. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that you should not drink. I'm not preaching that kind of gospel out here in these streets. You know, I'm all about doing you. You know, if that's what makes you happy, you know, if you're doing it in a responsible manner and you're still getting shit done, and you know, you can balance things, you know, go for it. You know, it's just, for me, I always feel like alcohol holds me back. You know, it doesn't make me better. It doesn't make me, doesn't improve my life in any way, you know. That's why I only reserve it for when I'm on vacation, you know, not for just weekends or, even though, like, now when I drink, like, I'm on vacation, I know when to stop now. It's like, I have one drink and that's enough, you know. I have 2 drinks, so that's enough. I won't know not when to stop now because my mind is different. You know, my mind is so strong now. I've decided to build my mind with such thick calluses that nothing can break it or penetrate it. So I first started a year before anything else, you know. So that's why I can control it now. That's why I can stop and say, I don't need that, or I can be around those elements now. The same with diet and nutrition. Like I can be around those elements and I won't need to crave it. I won't say, ooh, that dope smells good, or that dope looks good. You know, it's got the umbrella in there too, you know. So it's all about the mind, strengthening the mind, knowing who you are. That for me was big. That for me was gigantic. So I hope this answers your question, L952. Once again, thank you for supporting the podcast. If you guys have any other questions that you would like me to answer, you know, please, you can comment on this video, like and subscribe, or you can comment, hit me up on Instagram or Facebook whenever I post one of those questions again when I'm doing the Q&A. But yeah, hope that answers your question. And yeah, that's it for me. We are in these streets.
What you doing out in these streets, Leroux? What you doing out in these streets? What you doing out? What you doing out? What you doing out in these streets? What you doing out in these streets, Leroux? We in these streets.